Hi everyone, it's Lucky and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today is the start of week 8 and we're finally departing from animals, at least for now, and maybe we'll come back to it, I don't know. But for this week I'm planning to do plants, because I am not very good at it. So I figured I might as well start and you can all watch me fail horribly at it. So without further ado, let's get started. On the first day I decided that I'm going to do bushes, since bushes they're just miniature trees, I thought in my head. And I also had the idealistic idea that I was going to also do shading, but I forgot that I'm not the best at shading, and the only shading knowledge I've had was to do with basic shapes instead of more complicated shapes like bushes. Even though bushes aren't that complicated, they're still a lot different than just circles and squares. So I started off by just drawing the basic outline and then doing the shading on the inside with all the different parts, and it didn't go too well. I did try a couple of times to do it for the other samples I got off the internet, but they, as you can see, they didn't turn out the best way. So I decided to scrap that and just do very simplistic shading instead. Well, I didn't try that many different shapes. I just did this triangle shaped bush, which I thought looked really cute. And while on the example it didn't have any shading on it, I thought, well, I could try to like do the little ripples on the inside of I could shade the little ripples inside of the bush, and it didn't look too bad, you know. And I just did the bottom, you know, like the sun is hitting the bushes from the side, so it looked nice. I was quite happy with it. As well as following images off of the internet, I also tried to freestyle some of my own, which didn't turn out the best, but I wasn't expecting them to be masterpieces to begin with. Since the main topic for the week was plants, I thought it would be a cute idea to also do some herbs as well, since herbs are plants. I thought it would be a good idea for me to practice a few different plants and also practice some more shading, even though I quickly gave up on that, but we're not going to talk about that. third day, I have to be a little honest, I was a bit stumped on what I could do, and I was trying to look up like different variety of plants, but it wasn't giving me anything, so I'm like, you know what, let's just draw some leaves, you know? Leaves are a very common component to some art, depending on what you decide to draw. It's very popular in autumn drawings, so I thought, you know what, let me just do that since still it was in the theme of plants, since leaves are a part of plants, as we all know. And I always had a bit of a problem with like the leaf veins, because the leaf veins, while they don't seem like they're gonna be that complicated, they always look a bit awkward, you could say a bit amateurish, you know, but I try my best during this week, and I also wanted to incorporate different types of leaves, so it's not just, oh, this is a maple tree, this is a mint leaf, you know. Can we all collectively ignore just how badly I did that one side? Okay, good, thanks. Since I was getting kind of tired of just doing front-facing leaves, I decided, I'm also going to do some leaves blowing in the wind. And I thought it was going to be a bit harder than it actually was, but it was actually quite simple. Maybe it's because the image I was using was a very simple image of leaves blowing in the wind, and there weren't that many that were turning and facing in different directions, but it was still nice, it was still cute. In my humble opinion, I also did a few more later after I finished this one. Overall, I think it was a very fun experiment that I did. Second to last day before I enter my final boss fight, I decided to do some flowers, since while I'm never really struggled with flowers, they were always very simple flowers like daisies and a very simplified rose, but I also wanted to try doing some other flowers. I'm not entirely sure what kind of flower this was. I think it's not a hibiscus, it's some kind of flower. It's a very intricate flower, and I really liked how all the petals overlapped with each other and twisted around the pollen portion of it. And in hindsight, I probably should also have experimented with flowers that are in different stages of their life cycle. Like I should have probably done a flower that had its petals closed, maybe a wilting flower, just so I can like really understand the different range and shape of a flower depending on what stage of its life it's in. But that's a bit late to be realizing that now. I just have to do that next time in the future. The final boss of this week was actually trees. I have always been really bad at doing trees. I don't know why. And it isn't just like one aspect, like, oh, I can't do the branches, oh, I can't do the bundles of leaves. No, it's just everything is bad. I can't do anything when it comes to trees. Thankfully, I found this one website where there was a lady who demonstrated how she draws different trees, and it was a step-by-step process. So I'm like, maybe if I follow her instructions, it'll be, good. And for the first two, it looked quite alright, as you could tell. But on the third one, that's when everything started going downhill and just kept getting worse, even when I was just using references off the internet. And these are the results. Definitely, this is my worst day out of all the weeks that I've had. Because just look at this. Seems I haven't overcome my final boss, which is trees. The first three weren't too bad, but then just got worse. I also kind of gave up on this one, if you couldn't tell. But as for the other days weren't too bad. I think the other days were a lot easier to do. Like the flowers, some of them are a bit rough looking. But these leaves were very simple, and I quite enjoyed doing it also. I quite enjoyed doing leaves blowing in the wind. The different herbs were also quite fun to do, and halfway I gave up on the shading part, as if you couldn't tell again. But yeah, it was nice. I enjoyed the week mostly. I had a lot of hopes, like when I first did the bushes, I'm like, well, bushes aren't too far away from trees, right? Especially this is quite cute. But yeah, as you could tell, it wasn't, it's not good. But regardless, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, Lucky out.